2, 1.
Uh,
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello,
How is everyone doing tonight?
I'm
Yep,
doing great. How are you doing, Brock?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to see today the Neith draft, how it goes in the Valley of Kings. But before we begin, I think we have some ground rules to explain. Take it away, Bubble.
I told you I didn't want to. What? I'm
What?
here to be silent, Brock. Go away.
Either way, at the moment right now, we are setting up ourselves to get ready here with the draft sheet. At the moment, they are discussing all the little things in the Neith chat, getting ready. So, Devin, what are your thoughts tonight about this draft?
I'm pretty excited. Who do you think is going to go first in this draft? I think Cyber's going to go first. That's what my bet is. But
Think
speaking of which, Cyber was dropped down from Raw in exchange for polymorphs.
that's gonna be an interesting one then.
Yes, so Cyber is back in Neith and polymorph is moved up to Raw. And it seems like Underworld's up first. Is camera on the stream?
Yeah,
Brock?
the stream sees exactly on the draft. So we're gonna put real quick here the draft sheet, the draft order. So it goes Underworld first, then the Serpents to the crew, going then after with the Galaxy Warriors or Galaxy Gangsters. Sorry, I apologize. Then the next team, after the Galaxy? Who is next? Because cannot tell with that picture.
After the
Missed
Galaxy.
Vipers.
The
Yeah.
Miss Vipers. Then we have the Pittsburgh Gold Diggers, the King's Court, the Gun Show Shoguns, the Kappas, and then ended up with the Death Dealers.
All right, so first we had Underworld pick Dustbutt, which is a solid pick in my opinion. Any thoughts on this Dustbutt pick, Brock?
He's the one. He's the best mid laner at the moment, considering with the Neith roster that we have. I'm excited to see what he brings in with the new season in. Mid lane is a strong position, but there's a lot of roles that are pretty important in this moment.
That is true. And then after that, we had Mystic Sea Serpents pick up Deaglim, solid support player, a really good mid player. I believe he's trying to play mid this season and not support. Any thoughts on him, Brock?
Whenever there's a role swap play, you guys gotta consider, is it really worth it, or if the player is willing themselves to pick up that role as well. Like for me myself here, I'm pretty sure I'm signing up for jungle this season. So if someone picks in support, I don't know, I don't know what to tell you there,
Uh, your point. And after this Deaglim pick, we have Milosis, another solid mid laner coming out. So we have three mid laners off the board pretty much.
No, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this draft is shaping up at the moment.
Yep.
So right
And
now, prediction right now, who do you think has the best draft position here? Because always going first, you get first pickings, but then you're waiting until the 20th round pick afterward.
yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit of a toss up because if you're last, you get your 10th pick, but you also get 10th and 11th. So you get two solid players besides just the best player, And it looks like we have Galactic Gangsters pick up the Narwhal Bear, a solo support in mid. So it
Solo.
looks like Muffin's going for a solo first out of anything.
So wait, so he's playing solo lane this season or mid lane?
His roles are solo support mid.
It's gonna be very interesting to see what role he's gonna be placing. Because the big thing when you're in a draft league like this is when there's a limited amount of players that you have, especially since we're gonna have at minimum 14 rat draft ups. I think it's important to have flexibility. Don't
Yeah.
tunnel yourself into one position. It's easier to play around with players if your draft board doesn't go according to plan.
And reading the sheet, it seems like he did sign up to play mid, so he's going to be a mid player. I'm assuming that's what he's going to play. And then after that, we had Mist Vipers pick up Cyber. He's probably the best jungle in this division. Solid pick.
And
Any thoughts on him?
That's wild that people forgot to pick up Cyber after the announcement made that he was literally available.
And it looks like we have the Gold Diggers pick up Contraband, otherwise known as Steiner Peener. Solid solo laner, solid mid laner, solid ADC. I think he's looking to play solo lane this season, but solid in all three roles.
I think if you're in these kinds of league, especially in the middle division, when you have a good 3v3, either your support jungle solo or your mid jungle support, having a good 3v3 of a combination of those is pretty good because those
I-
are the players that are going to create your space and allow your team to succeed, even if you have some weak links in your team.
And I can't agree more. And then we have the King's Court first pick is Dab Llama. He's another mid laner. We've seen a lot of people pick mid first. It's a very high demand role, and he's pretty good. He's a pretty good mid laner.
Again, a lot of mid laners are going through immediately. No ADCs at all. The ADC pool has not been touched at all. So I'm pretty interesting as we see Sneaky Dream being picked up right here.
Yeah, Sneaky Dream by the Gun Show. Another really solid jungler. Yeah, I think the two best junglers right now are off the page. Cyber and Sneaky Dream, both goated players.
No, yeah, these first few round picks are really much expected as really as everyone saw. These players were on everyone's draft board, knowing that
Yep.
Milo's is gonna be gone. Um, um, wow, Cypher, that was a surprise. No one gonna expect it not going to be on the list, but still, people had them on their list before the raw draft, expecting a chance to get picked up. So hopefully we see bigger players as we see Scotia, veteran player here in the league.
Oh, a solid solo in it. Probably the best in the division. He's the Scotia. I don't know what to say.
No, I'm really excited to see how Scotia does this year. And every time he's in a team, it's always a good balanced team. Scotia is a player that you can depend on, and as well as base your draft around him.
Yep. And we have Death Dealers on the clock. And we have Cajones getting picked up.
Ooh,
A jungle player coming out too.
that's not a player I've not heard in a while. I think I played with him once before in a team. I maybe confused with who, but Coach Jonas is a decent player. If you're looking for a jungler, then I think that's a good pickup that for you to have in your team.
And then we have
Yeah.
Danny, a solo laner. I think he's playing solo in this season. He's another solid solo laner. So it seems like that's their dive right there. This Cajones and Danny.
Honestly, I want to ask you a question here, Devin. What do you think about the captains this year?
I thought all the captains are pretty good picks. I don't really see a captain I'm like too upset that it's like, wow, this guy's a captain, or I think they're all pretty solid captains this year.
Well, that's good to hear because normally, even though the players that draft are what makes the team, the captain is really important. You may have the best draft, but I'll be honest, a horrible captain it could ruin your entire season.
Yeah, and it seems like I just get picked up
Devin
by
Frisco. Can, can,
the
can you tell
Capital
can you tell us
Corporation.
about that player real quick? Who is Devin
Oh,
Frisco?
dude, he's the 3-time Reap MVP. The only player in Reap history to ever win Fire Giant and Gold Fury MVP in the same season. Only player.
That in the same season, in both leagues. That's crazy.
All right.
That's incredible. As we see Nox is being picked up here. So Pricey went later on in the draft. As we see, Cooter has picked up Brachiozoid. So then, can you tell us a bit about Brachiozoid?
He's a really good support. Sadly, he's playing mid this season, so it's kind of like his stocks went down.
Yeah, yeah.
All serious though, Brock is a solid player. It's great.
No, yeah,
He's a great
I'm
guy.
excited. I'm excited to see where I end up and where I end up in the lane specifically. If I'm babysitting on ADC or if I'm all alone in the wild. So we'll see how it goes.
Yep. It looks like the Gold Diggers are back on the clock.
Wait, was that Naxos pick up twice or was that just a typo?
It's just a correction.
I pinged him. I pinged him for the roles.
Yeah.
You are good.
And then we have Papa. We have ex Papa, otherwise known as Hawk, but he's a solid jungle ADC player. It's good to have in your team.
That's good. And I think that's the first AD still fail that we have seen so far.
I believe so.
I think there's still some main ADC players around in the list here. A couple of them have been picked up. I think those were picked up beforehand.
Yep.
What I'm interested to see now is here very little support picks only a few teams have taken some supports, but still, a lot of them are still open in the map.
Yep. And then we have Foul Play coming out. Another solid jungle from Mystic Vipers.
Everyone just wants junglers. They
Yep.
they don't care about the rest. They just want a jungler in their team, and who can blame them? A jungler can easily determine the title of the game.
Yep.
I really want to see here some good sneaky draft. Any player left on the list that you're very interested to see get picked up.
Any player. Well, you still have Pain of Six. You still have a lot of good mid laners up. Pain of Six Pass, Ice the Cool. You have a lot of Godzilla. You have a lot of good players left up. And I think you're probably looking. If I was Muffin, I'm probably looking to round off my dual lane, considering I believe he's playing ADC. So I'm thinking he's looking for a support. There aren't too many Neith supports, so a lot of them are going to be rat bring ups.
Well,
I don't think there are
that's gonna
any
and
supports
that's
left.
gonna be the interesting part of it. Like how much of the draft players are gonna be picked up eventually,
Yep.
and not only that, like who do you think is being worth it?
I don't know. You gotta find. You gotta see people. Let's go. Let's go over this rat list and see who's a solid support in rat. We got a lot of solid supports. You have the Goose, O'Jaeger, Magical Fits, Stooms. You have a lot of good. Great Polar Bear. But it does seem like the Galactic Gangsters are
I
picking
have
up.
heard to the grapevine that Great Polar Bear is a great support player, especially as a pull up.
You know, he is a great support player. He's a great support slash jungle player. And it looks like the Galactic Gangsters did pick up the Bando Bleezy. Not sure what role he's playing. Let's see where. Let's see.
If I can find out
Is he?
Bleezy here,
Is he on the list?
let me put this in alphabetical. Is he a rat pickup?
Yeah, he has the Neith tag.
Was his Discord?
He's a
The
jungler.
jungler.
There you go.
Bando Bleezy.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Bracking, if you're listening, wait, give it about like 10 seconds before you mark him out.
no, yeah. The draft's been going pretty well, and captains have gone pretty quickly on their picks. They have their draft board ready and set up.
And then we have Godzilla, a solo mid lane support, solid in all three of those roles. And it looks like he's playing ADC 2 this season.
Well, hey, if he wants to
He
play
could,
every single
yeah,
role, that's good. It's important to
yeah.
have a jack of all trades, just in case someone calls out or just disappears on you. You know.
And Mystic Sea Serpents have picked up Bob's Inner, a really solid mid laner and a really good solo. Well, I wonder which one he's going to be playing this season.
I think Bob's is just a nice millionaire to always have in your team. He can mesh in any team pretty easily, and in multiple leagues he's a better in draft league. We've seen him in QSL, OSL. We've seen him in every single kind of league, and then now here in Valley of Kings first season, I think he might be a good star.
Yeah, I agree. I can't agree with you more.
Here,
It's,
interesting. Zabzi has Zabzi been picked up yet?
no, he is not, and he's a solid ADC player. But Mr. the Farm right now, or sorry, Bo the Farmer has 2 picks on the clock right now for Underworld.
We'll see how that goes in a sec here. No, I'm interested. I'm interested to see how everything starts rolling around in these teams. As speaking of which, there it is. Gray Polar Bear and Six Pains Path has been picked.
Yeah. A solid support player, jungler, and a solid mid laner. I don't know what more I'm asking for.
Bo the Farmer's team is building up. He has now. Do you know what role is Bo playing this season?
But he's playing Phil, so he's playing whatever rolls up, whatever role he thinks he can play the best.
I'm excited to see that right there. Bo right there. Bo got the first pick on the mid laner. Got Payne a backup mid laner, or is Payne also interested in playing a different role this season? Because
I believe
I
it's
do
just
believe
Just let's play an ADC.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
okay.
that's what is playing ADC looks like. So I think that's gonna be the key aspect here in this team.
It looks like Bo's gearing up for a solid team.
I said, interesting to see how it all breaks down in the end. Right now,
Yep.
Azure on the clock here, seeing what's up with his pick. I'm right now. I'm still thinking how these team counts are forming up. I think I like Bo, how he's building up his draft. He just has a lot of players that can just play around in different roles at the moment. And then with a few pickups with Cyber, then but the one thing I want to talk about the captain Azure. Azure is a veteran player in these draft leagues, and not only a veteran player, he is a jack of all trades in Smite. Just like Bo, he can play any role that his team needs.
Yeah, exactly. And I pick up Serena here. I think that's how you pronounce the name. And that is a jungle solo. So we have another jungle solo. These jungles are dropping like flies. There are no more Neith rated jungles, I believe, that are up besides their captains. They're all gone.
Yeah.
They've all been gobbled up.
Yep. So so as this draft keeps going on and on and on, I have another question for you here, Devin. So once what so as a captain, right? You pick up all your players, right? Are you one of the captains that are willing to start trading around for to pick up something that you messed up, or are you gonna stick with the game plan that this is what I got? I'll play with this.
A little bit of both. Sometimes it's like, ooh, I really want this player, and maybe I mess up my draft a little bit to try to get him. Other times it's, let's just stick what we got. See if we make this work. And it looks like the Galactic Gangsters pick up Hard Stepdad, another mid laner, support, and AD support, mid, jungle, and carry. Can play all three, play 4 roles,
And
4 to 5.
that's what you need.
Yeah,
You just need someone that if can play all the roles, and you're fine. Looking
I agree.
still of a lot of other players available here that surprisingly have not been picked up. Simple Fate's still open. As a
Simple,
player, he's a veteran draft league player.
yeah. Simple Fate. You have Riblet. I think I've seen Riblet before. Ice the Cool, another veteran. Dusty's still up. ADC Jungle, another ADC. I think he's the last. Yep, he's the last Neith ADC up right now.
Hopefully someone picks him up. As we also have Bathwater for sale. That's a mid laner, but to my surprise, a lot of mid laners have been picked up in almost every team.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see if he gets a chance to be on a team this season.
Yeah, but I think he will. I mean, he also he didn't sign up for support, but he also does play it. So I wonder if he's willing to play it. But I guess since he signed up mid, he just wants to play mid this season, which is this is totally fine. And Mythic Vipers pick up Ice the Cool.
I
Solid mid laner, been around for a little bit. Happy to have him.
But not only mid, ADC. Again,
Ooh,
back to the conversation. ADC this season is incredible. The items that they have makes it one of the most powerful roles in the game. However, knowing Smite, what does Smite always do? Once ADCs are good, what happens always, Stefan?
they get nerfed to the ground.
Exactly.
Rules fun for a first week of the season, and they're like, crit's not fun to play against. They nerf it to the ground.
Exactly. So that's a big conversation. What's the that's why the best roles to always pick up are always gonna be your mid laner, your jungler, and then your support. After that, the rest could be played. Can be it might depend on the meta, because ADCs could be good one season, as in we saw last year, as we saw last season. It wasn't that ADCs were good. They could help you push the late game, but at the end of the day, you get to level 40. You're both ADC. Sorry, minute 40. Both ADCs are the same point, and nothing changes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think ADCs were the role that was getting dogged on last season. I believe that was solo lane, even getting kicked out of their own lane once. I believe twice this season, twice last season. Mids took him over, and I believe ADCs took him over at the beginning of the season. So it's been a rough ride for solo lanes last season, but I'm happy it started to stabilize. And we have the first rat ADC call up, Pockles. Solid ADC.
Paco's being
I,
picked up. I'm excited to see the first draft, the second draft up, because Great Polar Bear
I
was the
believe this was the
first.
third.
The third.
I believe it was the third.
Either way, when we get draft pickups, that's always good. I always like when these players get the opportunity to play in the bigger divisions and see if they really can play with the big boys.
I agree. I'm excited to compete with the big boys. Not sure about you, but I'm ready.
We'll see, Devin, 3-time Reap champion. Hopefully, you can take the fourth time here in the first season of Valley of the Kings.
On God.
As you see here, the Kings court pick Mr. Pojangle for their team.
He's a solid. It is another rat call up, I believe,
That is,
for
yep,
ADC.
that
And
ADC. That's gonna be an interesting there for the team.
I agree. ADC seems like it's going to be a little bit lacking this season.
Well, that's
You know,
and if you look at the rat sheet, I would say a good portion of them are ADC players. So
yep.
I don't think the red division are gonna die. They're gonna suffer too much with losing a few ADCs.
Oh, and it looks like we have another mid laner off the board going to the Shoguns, Troglodyte 66. So it saw another mid laner off the board, and then Geo of the Capricorns pick up Shrimpenshire. Another rat pull up. I believe he's playing mid or support, but he's going to be a solid player either way.
No, and again, I'm. It's at this point right now. We are at the third, almost getting to the end here. Really, this is where your last picks have to really matter, knowing what strengths and weaknesses your team has right now. So if you're the death dealers that your pick is coming up soon here, you gotta be ready to pick two people here and be ready to have an amazing draft. As Blizzardo picks up his first one with Akibo.
Solid solo laner. He was rumored to be the best last season in Gold Fury. Let's see if those rumors can become true up here in Neith. And what is his other pick going to be?
No, yeah. So let's see. Hopefully, they decide to pick up their position here. Their position here. Um, right now, looking at the Death Dealers draft, what do you think they're missing?
Who do they got so far? They have Blizzardo, Akivo. Hard to lose track very easily.
Yes, I was trying to check the sheets, but when someone has not been updating the draft template sheet just yet. So we'll get that hopefully in a
Yep.
break, and when we go to a little bit of break possibly, and get those ready.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find them. We have Denny and Cajones. That's who it is. Denny, Cajones, Neptune Spire, and Akivo. I think it's a pretty solid rounded team. Finish it off. They have a solo laner. They have two solo laners. They have a jungle, and I'm assuming Blizzard is playing support, and then they have Neptune Spire going mid.
No, yeah. As you see here, then going for Bathwater for sale, getting picked up here, right? Another mid laner gone from the Neith division.
Yep, Bathwater for sale. Another one out of here.
We're almost here, running out of players here in the Neith division. So eventually, the rap players are gonna start being picked up more and more.
That is true. Eventually, we're running out of. How many? So Bathwater's gone. So we have one fill in Avenis. Sorry if I mispronounced the name. Then we have Deciding Acres, which is another mid and not solo. We have Dusty for the ADC jungle. Manispeed Hose, mid jungle support ADC. Peaceful Miners, another mid ADC fill. Riblet, a mid solo. We have Simple Fate, a mid solo. And Oni Bandit, who is a mid jungle. All we got right now in Neith.
Oh, yeah, and I'm excited to see how it goes off here with the King's Court up and up again to a sec here.
Oh, and it looks like Sarcastronaut is being drafted for Gunshot Shoguns, I believe for support. Could be for carry, but I think it's gonna be for support.
Hopefully I can set up. I'm gonna switch us a bit to a sec to get the to hopefully get the sheet updated for everyone to see. It was one sec there, chat. You'll still be hearing Devin Frisco talking here and getting the scoop on the pick.
Yep. And then we have Avenus again. It looks like a fill player. I'm guessing solid because they're Neith, and everybody's Neith is a solid player. The Joust man himself is what we've been told. And we have a pause. Now, why are we paused here, Elderly Bubble?
Rock, just check that sheet I sent you. All right. Just tell me when you're ready to go. Just
Oh, sorry for that quick intermission there. I apologize. Getting ready. Hopefully we got because I got sent the wrong sheet here. We right now you can see here an updated of the picks right now at the moment. So here, looking at a quick round off, we have here the Underworld with Dustbot, Great Plover, and Six Paint Path. Mystic Serpents with Iglin, Bobs, Tiwi 47, if I pronounce that correctly. The Crew with Milosis, Godzilla, and I am liking those few teams so far. Devin, do you see the sheet on the screen?
You are not sharing your screen.
Okay.
I could pull up the
You
stream.
please pull. You can pull up. I will send you that list in a second. There you go.
Thank you. All right. This is Neith Draft Board. Okay. We're at what? The Underworld, right?
You can continue when the Galaxy Gangsters.
Oh. We're at Galactic Gangsters. No, we're at Mystic Vipers.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Oh, the play. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're completely fine. Either way,
we have Muffin Man, Dr. Flexi, the Narwhal Bear, the Bando, Bleezy, and Hard Stepdad. Solid lineup so far. Then we have for the crew, Azure, Milosis, Godzilla, and Serena. Another solid lineup. And for the Mystic Sea Serpents, Louis, Deaglum, Bob's Inner, and TY. But I all these look so good right now. In Underworld, we have Bo the Farm, Dustbutt, Great Polar Bear, and Pain Six Path. We have some great lineups. I don't see anything wrong with any of these drafts.
Yeah, and as the draft keeps going on right now that we have resumed, teams are going and we're ending right now in this almost the second loop here. Only two more picks for certain teams, and last team's we're going almost going to the last round. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what these final pickups are gonna look like.
Yeah, I'm with you there, buddy. Who do you think? Who do you think's going to go in these last rounds? Because
Hopefully,
I believe.
hopefully, I want that these Neith players get picked up, but unfortunately, it's just they're all mid laners, and that's the crazy thing. They're all mid laners at the moment, so a lot of teams already got their picks in mid lane. So these players could be picked up as backups, or would you prefer getting a more dedicated player from the rap pull ups?
I think you probably pull a couple of the ADC players and maybe a mid and see how they do in ADC if they're willing to play ADC because a couple of them are, I believe. But other than that, I think you're just looking to pull up rap players. And I believe we've skipped a couple because we have the Gold Diggers picking up the Goose.
Cusco being picked up there by Dr. Flexi. I am Cusco's that's a crazy one that got gone through the whole draft and not being picked up.
Well,
Even though he's a rap player, I'm surprised he went this late in the round.
Kuzco's a solid player. I mean, Kuzco has his moments. You know, some games he goes 3-14, other games he goes 14-3.
I think
That's
Cus-
just
I
that's the
think
Kuzco effect.
and I think Cusco's biggest weakness is that he's British. And I think it's
Uh,
time zone. Just always being so late when he's playing Smite that's what happens in those. He could pop off, or he's so sleep deprived that he just goes 3-21.
yep. Other times, other times Kuzco's like, I'm locked in. I've shotgun 3 energy drinks. I'm going 14-3. He's picking this Mercury and he's going ham.
And there you go. Now, Bo the Farmer of the Underworld with the last two picks of his draft. Let's see what he picks up here. At rounding up his team, he does have a good variation of ADC, mid laners, and support at the moment. So a good soul laner could be picked up right now. I know Bo can play soul lane, so then that would just leave a jungle role. Would you pick up a rat jungle player?
He probably would, but it's also Mr. Farm. Mr. Farm could want to play jungle this season. He isn't a bad jungler. So I think about him, I'd probably lock a soul in there and maybe a sub that can do a lot. You know?
Like we mentioned before, it's the idea of flexibility.
Yeah.
You can have the best player in a role, but knowing how limited the player pool was at that point, it's just better to pick players that can just jump into anything. And that really shows here with with his draft picks that he can play anywhere. He can put dust buff in ADC and or mid lane depending on the timing. So it's good to have these variations of players and roles. If you have players that are stuck, I can only play ADC. The moment someone calls out sick, someone calls out that they can't show the day, then that's gonna be a big issue.
Yep. But that's why you always draft flex players, or if you're the captain, be a flex player yourself. You know, you're like, all right, well, my ADC called out sick, but I could play ADC and I have a backup jungler, you know, or a backup soul in or whatever role he's trying to play. It looks like we have Dashiway and Brit Orc going to Underworld for their last two picks. Both solid rat players, and they're getting brought up. And there's rightfully so.
And that's what I just put. That's what you have to do. You have to find those players that you want, those roles that you need to be filled, and pick them up. As you see, Louis is on the clock now, deciding on what his last pick should be.
Yeah. Who do you think he's going to pick? I think he just needs a kind of a fill player. But what do you
At
think?
this point, he has a good like Louis as a great flex player. Deglim is playing mid this season, if I'm correct, right?
I believe so. I believe he wants to play mid. I think he's willing to play support, but he really, really wants to play mid, and I hope he does because
Because
he's a
I'm
go to
interested
mid
with that
laner.
Bob's pick at the moment as well. So like he has Bob's already, which he is the mid laner. Like I have never seen Bob's play a different role that is now mid
Ops can
lane.
definitely play support.
Yeah, I've seen Bob play support, but he's also. I think they're both great in support and mid. So I'm interested to see how they go. And we have O Jaeger, a solid support player. Another rat call up, and it makes sense because he's solid support.
Now, besides that, let's look at the other ones that might show up and pick up that could be interesting here. At the rat list, anyone that Simon says might is still available. He's still available.
Simon Says my iconic prince, a solid player.
He's
Oh,
he's might not be the best player, but at least Simon is a known player, someone that you know can play with the team and not don't cause issues. He's someone's willing
I,
that's willing to learn.
yep. And Zapsy is still up. Zapsy has not been picked at all, and that's somebody who definitely should be called up.
I think Zapsy could be the player of the last round pick, a good super sub
Yep.
for teams.
I think it's a solid ADC. He plays mid ADC, and mid is very partial. He has the quotes in his sign up.
As looking here around, we have Zelda, also another player.
Yeah,
Zelda
we get
is
Zelda.
a great flex role player. I've known him for support plays, but I know his mid is incredible as well.
Yep. And we have the Delphi killer himself, Cat 4200. That guy's a goat.
There you
If
go.
you're a Delphi player and you see him, you got to turn around and run.
But speaking of that, Simple Fate being picked up by Azure. Now that is a pick I did not expect from the crew.
Really, I thought Simple Fate was a solid Neith player, still up.
I think Simple Fate is a great player. Do not get me wrong on that aspect. However, if we're looking at the draft at the moment for Azure here, he already has Milosis, and I think Azure thinking of mid lane this season, or was he thinking of somewhere else?
Azure is either looking to play mid or jungle. It's
So
fun. It's fun either way.
maybe this Simple Fate pickup could just be a nice sub if he wants to join the solo lane or the jungle. As speaking of that, Timbo twice being picked up here. Another rat
Yep.
call up.
Yeah, another solid player can play mid and jungle. I think he's mostly going to be like the fill player because they already have Cusco and they already have another mid laner. So I think he's mostly looking for the fill because you have Heart Step Dad and you have Cusco. So I reckon he's going to be the bench for those two players.
I think Timbo is a player that can make it work here in the division. Yes, he might have been a superstar during the rat era. However, I think this is a good chance for him to show up to show how good of a player he really is.
I agree. Maybe he'll start. What we won't know until the season begins. Now will we?
Interesting to see as well. I'm looking around the list. There's some nice notable names that here we have here Salty Dingus, known soul laner. I'm
Yep.
not saying he's the top soul laner, but he's a known soul laner that people can pick up if they're missing one.
And we have another mid laner going, deciding acres to Myth Vipers.
There
Miss
we go.
Vipers.
Like I said, if you're looking for soul laners, there you have. Keep looking around on the list here. I'm thinking what are still available for people to pick up. Right now, I think players are trying to just have a nice super sub in their bench, someone to help them out. So some of these players, Crusted Nuts, still a player. That's someone that you could easily set up on your team. Bro Taco is still available.
And we have Simon Says Smite going up to Gold Diggers.
Simon, that's a
Yeah.
big one. He did not want to get picked up here for the division.
No,
However, now his chance. Simon Says might about to prove himself here. I'm calling it right now. When he starts in this game, he's gonna show his worth.
Acre Fives, a rat player getting picked up by Cooter for the King's Court. Another solid player getting picked up.
Ark's a good support player, and
Yeah.
a nice guy. I think Ark's is gonna be someone that is again another good sub to have if he's not your main support player. Hopefully, he is the main support player, and I'm not support, right, Devin?
You're definitely not support. You didn't sign up
No,
for support, so you can't play it.
man, I don't know. Yeah, that's we'll see. We'll see how that goes, right?
No. And we have Dusty being picked up for Shoguns, which is a solid player.
Dusty here being picked up now. Going to the last picks here. We're gonna switch real quick here to the sheet for people to see. Right now, with the last three picks here, the Kappas and the Death Dealers with the last two picks of the whole draft. This here again, we're just filling up what the needs of the team are. But
Yep.
anyone still, I'm surprised picked up Papa Nike, even though yes, dedicated rat player could have been a good pickup here in the middle division.
Yeah, I agree.
Speaking of being picked up, Crusted Nuts picked up from the rat division for the Kappas, and now Blizzardo with the last pick of the Valley of Kings draft. Who do you think is he gonna pick up?
I think it might be Zapsy.
I say if I'm trolling and I'm reading chat, I will pick Zabzy.
Yeah.
If not, I will be taking Real Taco.
Bertaco. Yeah, Zapsy and Bertaco. I think those are two solid picks.
He's thinking about it as time ticks on. What his last pick would be.
Hmm.
You
You
have
have
infinite
infinite
time. Don't
time.
tell him that, Bubble. Please don't tell him that.
That's crazy. Oh.
Oh, we'll see who he is gonna pick up at this moment. As time ticks on, chat. What do you think? The last one. He is trolling here.
He is trolling. Oh, we have a lot of guests coming in.
Knowing, looking around here, I think there's only a few players left in the Neath division. I think there's three players left in the Neath division that who have not been picked up.
Yep. I think one of these guys should be picked up.
I think they're hinting to Zabzi. I think
I,
Zabzi should be picked up here.
I agree. I think Zaps is a solid pickup.
I think just for the final for the Death Dealers, I think Zabzi should be picked up right here.
Yep. All right,
And
Zaps is coming up.
Blizzardo picks up Zabzi for the draft.
Let's go. We gatekeeping from Rat.
Oh,
That's what we be
Zabzi,
doing.
now's your chance, buddy. This is your chance to prove the haters that you belong in this division. And that concludes our draft. So let's look a real quick at the sheet here and look how the teams are set up here. What right now, looking at this draft, Devin, who do you think has the best team?
Oof. The crew team is really good. The gun show team is really good too. You have a lot of solid players. Gold Diggers, like these are all really good teams. I don't see a team that I'm like the Underworld team. My bet is either the crew or the Underworld team.
I'm I'll be honest, I'm liking the Galactic Gangsters team.
You got you in for Galactic?
Dr. Flexi, Cusco, and Hard Step. That could be a nice 3v3 core right there.
It could be. You are right. That could be a great core.
It could be, but
I don't know.
I think if we're thinking about captains and how much of an impact, I think Azure with Azure Milosis is gonna be a great partnership there in the game.
Yeah, yeah. I think Azure, Milosis, and Godzilla. That might be the best mid 3v3 out there in this division.
Another one that
And
no,
what?
the Gunshow Shoguns, we haven't talked much about them, but with Blasphemy, Sneaky Dream, and Noxus,
That's
I'm liking those though, like those three right there together are a big combination.
yeah. Because I imagine Blasphemy's playing mid, Sneaky Dream jungle, Noxus solo, and then I think you have Dusty ADC and Sark support. I think that's a pretty solid lineup if you ask me.
Rock, talk about Neith draft real quick at the bottom.
And then here we have the King Kappas and the Death Dealers here. Um. Oh, so we notice here now, Timbo was dropped by the Galaxis Gangsters, and now they have big goods on their team.
That's a solid player.
So
Well,
once that gets updated in the chat in the sheet here, Timbo was dropped. So Timbo now has a chance to play in the Rat division if I'm in the Rat if I'm correct. So
yeah,
yeah, Timbo back into the Rat division. However, here Baked Goods is getting a chance to play now.
yep. And I think both these players deserve to play in Neath, but it's sad to see Timber go to Rat, but well, we welcome big goods.
I always, like I said at the beginning, I love when these players get picked up and put back in the upper divisions, because even though they could be great players in the small divisions, getting the opportunity to play in the higher really shows the kind of player that you are. That even if you have a bad season or your team has a bad season, it gives you name, it gives you a reputation.
Yep.
You don't know how much when I was playing in other leagues, they would always push me up because they were just lacking a player in their teams.
Okay, and does that include the draft show, Brock?
I think that is so, unless our league manager has something to say. I think we
Uh,
are good to end for the night.
yeah. Are you have the draft board showed up? Just give everybody the.
Everyone's been looking at draft board for the last 3 minutes. They know exactly every single pick and every single team that has picked up a player. I'm excited for the Valley of Kings. Devin, when does the Valley of Kings start?
Valley of King starts. Why'd you throw that on me? Because I have no idea. I'm
It's
guessing.
so Devin. So there's first of all rat draft tomorrow at 8
Yes.
o'clock. Should be mentioned, okay, but the actual season starts. You can start playing your games on Monday, but the first games are most likely gonna come next Saturday at 2 o'clock.
There you go. There you go, Valley of Kings. You heard it from the league commissioner himself. Tomorrow, don't forget about the rat draft starting at 8 p.m. as well. And then next week, first games 2 p.m. Be there, all right, guys? Hopefully, we'll have
Yeah.
a cast ready for you guys with a nice, beautiful showing of our inaugural season. So I hope you guys enjoyed the Neith division draft, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.
Have a good night, guys.